Last week, we talked about the wicked stretch the Badgers faced. Well, number 3 Marquette, check. At Michigan State, check. Number 1 in the country looms large this weekend. We get into the Arizona game with our 3 big things and our final score predictions. Welcome to the Bucky Report.
Welcome to the Bucky Report, your destination for all things Wisconsin Badgers. Authentic takes.
Oh my God.
Game analysis.
Touchdown Badgers! Ring one up!
And discussion from the fan perspective.
Woo-hoo!
Thanks for joining us and on Wisconsin.
Welcome into the Bucky Report. We are your hosts, Rajeev and Justin, in for our midweek episode to talk about some great Wisconsin basketball. Justin, you said last week we were going to be 2-1 in these 3 games. I thought you were nuts. And so far, you're looking pretty good in your prediction.
I was just going to say, I'm going to take this moment to say I told you so.
Yes. And I'm usually the positive one. So you
know what? I'm going to go further, and I'm going to say we get the job done. We go 3-0.
Wow. Okay.
We're playing with house money now. I got nothing to lose.
I mean, I feel like that's a smart way to do it. But we are at the Bucky Report on Twitter or X, I should say, really nowadays we're calling it all X. We're also at the Bucky Report on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. If you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button so you know when we make new content. Also, check out Justin's recruiting radar, which he's putting out there once every week, once every couple weeks, whenever he's doing it. He's going through all the positions. Justin is a really good recruiting guy, recruiting talk to listen to. Anytime he talks recruiting, it's worth a listen, so check that out for sure. All right, Justin, big game coming up this weekend against Arizona. Let's just quickly kind of recap a little bit about what happened in the Michigan State game. What was the one thing that you saw that you absolutely loved in that Michigan State win?
I think that exactly what I thought was going to happen was how it played out in that game, which was I thought offensive efficiency-wise, we just have too many guys to deal with, and you can't gang up on anybody, which means it creates so much space when you have multiple guys that can shoot and score. Like if you looked at it, they couldn't really just crumble down on the paint because then you had to deal with Storr on the outside. You had to deal with Klesmet, who had a hot game the game before. You have to deal with Chucky. So the defense can't really help down in the paint. And if they do, then we instantly kick it out and it's wide open looks. So Michigan State was kind of in a tough spot. And I think that everyone's going to kind of be in a tough spot continuing to go forward. And the beauty of it is we have guys that can come in off the bench that you have to respect out there too, in Blackwell and Asigian. And even Winter, I think, will be more so as the season goes on. But I think the scouting report on him is that he's capable of hitting the shot. So I think they still want to stay out on him. But it's kind of playing out how I thought was going to in general this season, which is something that I think is something that hasn't been discussed as much, which is that from an offensive efficiency standpoint, teams are going to struggle to stay with us. And if you look at it, we're like a top 15-ish offense right now, and that's with even the couple stumbles early. And we are basically, I think, close to 1.2 points per possession, which is off the charts high.
Amazing.
So that's going to continue to make us really difficult. We do such a good job of rebounding and hitting our free throws that we just don't have a ton of empty possessions, which puts a ton of pressure on the other team to not make mistakes. They can't turn it over. They can't give us, easy shots. They have to hit their shots. And we defend at such a high level that it's tough for them to get clean, easy looks.
Yeah. My big takeaway was that we were able to quell their run, right? They came on strong. Walker hit huge, just coming around the outside and just hitting massive threes. And we were able to control that by doing what you just said, keeping our offensive efficiency high, getting to the foul line, scoring on the other end, finding different ways to score. It's not just about the shooting. It's about how we can get to the dribble drives with AJ Storr and John Blackwell and how successful they've been at producing through on those drives and getting to the foul line. So look, we're playing really great teams, and any team we play, even in the Big Ten, we're going to have teams that have these long runs, and the ability to control that, I think, was incredible. But let's talk about the Arizona.
The Bucky Report's 3 big things.
All right, Justin. Number 1, control the paint and continue dominant rebounding. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think it's a huge deal against a team like Arizona. We have got to – one of the biggest hallmark we've seen so far from this season is that Wisconsin has been incredible on the rebounds.
Offensively.
We have absolutely killed on the boards, and we are a plus defense or plus rebounding team right now in terms of the analytics. And if we continue to do that, we could put Arizona in a bind. Like you want to, with a team like with this type of athleticism, you want to limit their opportunities. So rebounding is going to be huge for us in this game. We have to do a great job of keeping it away from them. We have to get the second chance opportunities for ourselves that we can steal, because they're athletic enough to cause us some problems defensively, even though I really like some of our guys in this matchup.
Yeah, rebounding is critical, and they're a long team. Their starting center, Umar Ballo, is 7 feet tall. They've got a backup that comes in with 7'2". They've got length, and they're extremely athletic. So boxing out and controlling that, because we have to limit their offensive rebounds too. It's not
we have to be the more physical team.
Absolutely, and if they get a bunch of offensive rebounds and second chance points against us, it's not going to go very well. I also put in here controlling the paint. I think we've done a really nice job of that lately. And, it's that paint belongs to us, and it needs to continue to belong to us. And when you see these other high-powered teams like Marquette and even Michigan State to an extent really struggle to score in the paint and get into the paint, and then, of course, rebound at the same time, it gives us such an advantage. And again, it's a way, like you said, to beat their athleticism, because this is one of the most athletic teams in America, 100%. One of the best teams in America. A lot of people are predicting these guys to go to the Final Four, potentially win a national championship along with the Purdue and the Marquettes of the world. So, I mean, we talk about tough tests. If we can rebound against this team the way that we've rebounded against the others, Arizona is going to be in for a world of hurt, and they're going to be surprised by us as well. I think no one's really going to be surprised at this point with how we've been playing, but we have the ability to take that to the next level.
I think they're going to be surprised by our ability to create easy looks. Like I still think that we do this is such a smart team and such a good passing team that some of the easy stuff is still going to be there, because you can't help but try to overplay defensively to try to take things away. And if you do, we've been slipping screens and doing all sorts of nice things that have made easy looks at the rim possible for this team and given us opportunities, even though we're not shooting particularly well yet.
Yeah. And speaking of easy looks, take number 2, Justin.
Yeah, keep offensive efficiency high against a top-flight Arizona attack. Now, this is an Arizona team that can make runs on you. They can flat out, they're athletic. They have plenty of guys who can score on you when they need to. And Wisconsin just needs to keep the pressure on them. And I think that to me is a big deal in this game. If we can be as efficient as we've been and kind of get them frustrated that they can't pull away, or even if we pull a lead on them, get frustrated with the fact that they feel like they have to go out of their comfort zone and do too much. If we can force them into hero ball, Wisconsin's going to have a huge opportunity to win this game, because it's so much easier to defend when you have guys trying to do too much. They start taking bad shots. They do stupid things where they're trying to make plays that just aren't there. That will help us mightily if we can force them into that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, offensive efficiency is something you talk about a lot. And I think this year, more so than any other year, is we have different ways to score. And that, to me, has been one of the most pleasant surprises that I've seen with this team. And obviously, it has a lot to do with A.J. Storr and John Blackwell being able to drive to the hoop. But we have a lot more scorers, right? It's not just Connor. I mean, Connor's got 4 minutes in the last game. Yeah. He's not even factoring into things right now. But that's how good guys have been, especially guys like Stephen Crowl and Tyler Wall on the inside. And one player that we talked a lot about Blackwell, we talked a lot about A.J. Storr. We haven't talked a ton about Chucky Hepburn and how well he has played this year. You talk about offensive efficiency. In the Marquette game, in the Michigan State game, he had 8 assists to 1 turnover. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. You talk about efficiency shooting, it's also efficiency in everything else you do offensively. So, and Chucky Hepburn has become such a great floor general this year. And I definitely don't give him enough credit in everything that he's done. Not only is he being a great floor general, he's shooting the ball better. He's scoring the ball better. He's picking and choosing his moments to really attack the rim, versus last year where it was anytime the shot clock was under 10, he was just trying to take a fadeaway shot. Well, now he's being very selective about his shooting, and he's knowing when to dish and when to hit the cutter. And there's so much more open. And when you have 5 guys on the floor who can shoot, so when Carter Gilmore's not out there, the spacing has been considerably better. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And it gives a guy like Chucky the chance to visually see the floor in a different way, because the spacing is better. He's able to find the open guy. And like you said, they can kick out when they need to. So I just feel like our offensive efficiency is going to continue to get better almost. I mean, this is going to be a very difficult game, but there's no reason to think that this team is not leaps and bounds ahead of last year from an offensive perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we've faced some really good defensive teams leading up until now. There's nothing that tells me that Arizona is going to suddenly be able to shut us down. And part of that is the fact that you have scoring at all 5 spots. You can't really help. So there are plus athletes. Like Storr is capable of taking even a good athlete off the dribble. That's going to play well. And there's such, like I said, they move well and there's such good passing that if you come off of screens, even good defenders are going to have trouble staying on things, especially. And then at that point, it's if they overcorrect and somebody tries to take something away that they shouldn't, that's where you have to make them pay, get the easy stuff. And we had several times we did that in the Michigan State game where somebody slipped a screen or whatever, and we had a wide open look because they were so aggressive trying to take things away. Blackwell did a great job of it last game where he dropped a couple of really pretty passes that you would not have expected a freshman player to make.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like every play that Blackwell makes is a play that we're like, well, no freshman's going to make that. But he continues to impress game after game. The mental part of his game is so advanced and more advanced than anyone thought coming in. And that's been a huge surprise for us. Number 3, turn the screws defensively and limit their runs. Look, this team in Arizona has got a lot of firepower. All of their starting 5 average over 11 points a game. The leading scorer is Caleb Love, who's their guard. He takes a lot of shots, but he's averaging 13.3 points. But Kylan Boswell, who averages 12.7 points a game, is shooting 54% from 3. And he's not like he's only taken a few. He's taken 35, and he's made 19 of them. They shoot as a whole 37% from 3. So defending the 3-point line is going to be a really big part of this too. Now, there have been times this year where we've done so well with rim protection and defending the paint that we're not getting out and closing out on those shooters at the 3-point line.
We've been better at that as late.
Better, but it's still a concern that I have going into this game because they have so much firepower. Now, from a depth perspective, they're not really that deep. They play 8 generally, but they've got productivity down their bench for the 3 people that come in. But it's really those guys that are starting with Caleb Love and Boswell and Johnson. And then their big guys are Umar Ballo and Pell Larson. I don't know, Pell Larson's actually a guard. But either way, they've got a lot of weaponry and firepower there. And they're going to go on those runs. And we have to find a way to, like you say, turn the screws. This is going to be probably the most talented offensive team we play all year. And maybe Purdue is the exception, right?
I would say that they're more talented than Purdue. Purdue is one of those things where it's going to be Edie. But I think that if you do a good job taking everyone else away, you can try to live with what Edie does as long as he doesn't go off for 50 points, which probably ain't happening.
So this is our measuring stick game, right? This is the game where we're going to be able to see, okay, we turned up the defensive intensity after the Providence game. And that's clear for everyone to see. And of course, offensively as well. But do you think we can actually do this? Do you think we can turn the screws on them defensively and limit their runs? It's going to be a really tough test.
I think we control this game. I don't think that we're going to shut them down by any means, but I think that it will play at our pace. I think that Chucky's capable of making them uncomfortable by slowing them down a little bit. I do think this game is going to play faster than Michigan State. So I wouldn't be shocked if the winner of this game has 80 points. But I think it's one of those where it's going to be somebody's going to have 80 and somebody's going to have 70. So it's going to be a 10-point victory or something close to that for whoever can get things under control. I really like the way we've made teams uncomfortable with us playing how we want to play. And it was a hallmark of the Bo Ryan teams. We would play at the pace that we wanted to play at, and we would dictate and make the other team uncomfortable, and they would do stupid things or make mistakes trying to do too much. And that's exactly what I think we're capable of doing in this game, which is just don't give them the ball. Maintain, don't turn the ball over, rebound well, hit your free throws, and hit enough shots, and we'll be fine. I think this team is talented enough. We're not going to have one of those 9 or 10 minute droughts. This is a team that's capable of keeping that down to a couple of minutes and just finding easy looks. And that's how you keep those drives on. You have a team that's capable of having good spacing and getting easy looks. So you don't have to worry necessarily as much about the whole having to find offense because guys have to take tough shots and hit something.
One of the things that concerns me about this game is foul trouble because we know how athletic they are and they are going to push us. we've talked about it. We talked about it on the reaction show on Locked On Badgers after the Michigan State game. We don't have a lot of front court depth. Of course, that is one of our concerns as far as the bench goes. Carter Gilmore doesn't really do anything for us offensively, although he plays well defensively. And then Nolan Winter is still so green, and he still has a lot of room to grow. And that's pretty much all we're getting from the front court depth. I am concerned about foul trouble, and I think that's something that we really need to take care of. The guys need to be very disciplined, go up straight, because you're going to get cutters. You're going to get guys, like I said, these guys, there's a 7-footer at the play center who's, doesn't take a ton of shots, but he's shooting 68% from the field. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to defend hard, and that means potentially getting into foul trouble. And I feel like in the first 10 minutes, we're going to know right away. If Wall or Crowl get 2 fouls, we are in trouble because he's going to pull them out right away.
I think that'll be interesting because I feel like that's taking them out of their comfort zone in order to try and dictate the game by giving it to a center where they don't like traditionally to play through the post. So if you start force feeding a guy who's not necessarily your best offensive option, it might not be in their best interest to do that. I know he's efficient.
Maybe it's their guards driving in there, but still, foul trouble is going to be. I'm
sure definitely for sure.
Right, like because
we have to do a good job of cutting off off their drivers before they can get to Crowl in the paint.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a good one. Let's get into our predictions.
The Bucky Report predictions.
Well, Justin already teased his prediction a little bit, but what are you thinking, man? Give me a score. Well, obviously, who's going to win? Give me a score and your player of the game.
I'm gonna vary a little bit from what I said, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be Wisconsin 78, Arizona 67.
Wow. You really have a lot of faith in our defense, my friend.
I do.
Arizona is averaging 93.4 points per game. Just putting it out there.
I can guarantee you they won't do that.
I also would guarantee that, but the 60 sounds like a bit of a stretch on their home
field. They're borderline 70.
First, okay, that's fine. That's fair. So yes, 2:15 Central Time, Wisconsin at Arizona in Tucson, number 1 team in America after Purdue's loss last week, and of course Marquette's loss as well to us.
I would like to point out they haven't played the strongest teams so far either. Their strength of schedule, their adjusted strength of schedule is like 235. So they've kind of been beating up on little sisters of the poor so far. So
yeah. It is going to be a very difficult game. Like I said, they've got all 5 of their starters average in double digits. Pell Larson, he averages 11 points a game. He's the lowest of their starting 5. So they're not super deep, but they all can score. There's a lot of 3-point shooters. They're going to take a lot of threes. They're going to drive to the hoop a lot. They're extremely athletic. I would love to pick a win in this game, but I just can't. Of course, my heart wants me to say that we're going to go 3-0 in this stretch, but I think we lose 81-72. I think they have so much firepower. And as much as I want to believe that this team can do this week in and week out, I think the issue is going to be our ability to shoot the 3 because listen, we're going to have to shoot lights out if we're going to beat this team. We're going to have to shoot lights out. Now, I know we've talked about other ways to score, but we're going to get some open threes with the way that Blackwell and Storr are driving, and we're going to get a lot of dishes out. But are we going to hit those? In a very hostile environment on the road in Tucson, that's going to be really difficult. So I think we lose by close to 9 or 10. I would love to be wrong about this, Justin, but I just don't see it happening this week. But I'll tell you one thing. I feel so much better about this program than I did even a few weeks ago. Definitely after the Providence game, I was pretty low on our defense. But so I think that we're going to do very well in the Big Ten. We're already 1-0. I think the schedule, obviously after this game, we've got 2 pretty easy games at home, and then the Big Ten schedule will kick off. So I think there's a lot of hope in the future of this team and what I think we can do this year. But this, to me, just doesn't feel like the game we're going to get it done.
I'm playing with house money. I'm going with it.
Well, sure.
At this point, I've already hit my 2-1. So I'll take my chances and just say we're going to get the job done in this game. If we lose, we lose. It doesn't really matter to me in the grand scheme of the season. I still think that we can hang with anybody. And I think we will give them all they can handle in this game. I think we're the best team they've played so far this year. And Michigan State was able to hang close to them. And I think we're far more of a problem offensively than what Michigan State is.
And let's just say this: if we don't win this game, it's okay. I mean, it's like we
Oh, yeah.
already have huge statement wins on our resume. I mean, having the Virginia win, SMU, and then of course Marquette at Michigan State. Like our season has started off very, very well. We're 7-2, and even if we drop this game, that's okay because I still think the future is really bright for this team and what they're going to build.
I said early that I thought we'd be like 20-12 because the schedule was super hard.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be closer to 25. So I think we're going to be substantially better than what I expected because I think we're going to beat up on the Big Ten.
I hope so.
There's going to be a couple teams we're going to struggle with, but there's, for the most part, I think most of the teams we're going to have, if we just function offensively like we have, we're going to have
and you know, we're probably going to have that hiccup game where we lose to a team that we shouldn't. But if you look at the Big Ten schedule, there are the first, like, you know, after obviously we already played one, but then you see this, like, it starts with Iowa at home, and then we have Nebraska, and we've got a pretty winnable slate, I think, when you look across the Big Ten, because like you've rightfully pointed out a couple of times on the show, the Big Ten is a little bit down and weak this year. So we need to take advantage. Now, our football program didn't take advantage in a down Big Ten West. I hope we, as the basketball team now this year, can take advantage.
At no point in this last season was the football team functioning at the level the basketball team is functioning at right now. It's not close.
Very fair. Very fair. Look, these guys deserve so much credit for what they've been doing and the way they've battled against really good teams, against Marquette, and then at Michigan State, which is not an easy place to play, but that's 3 in a row that we've won at the Breslin Center, which is fine by me. The last thing I want to say is, again, another good luck to the Wisconsin women's volleyball team.
Yep, tomorrow.
We plays tomorrow against Penn State in the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament. We are so proud of the Wisconsin volleyball team. They, once again, just set the standard for what we want all of our programs to be able to achieve. But yeah, kudos to them and good luck in the Penn State game. Final words, Justin.
Let's get it done. Let's keep it going. Let's beat Arizona yet again, and this time on their home court.
I was lucky
to continue to make them hate us.
I was lucky enough to be at both of those Elite Eight games. One was at the Honda Center because I lived in Orange County, California at the time. One was at the Honda Center. One was at the Staples Center. I went to both. It was absolutely incredible to see us beat them twice, and I was standing with one of my closest friends who went to Arizona, so that was even better. But yeah, it would be such an epic way to kind of kick off. Does he
still hate you for the last time when we hit 11 or 13 threes or something like that?
He texted me today. He's already trying to make a friendly wager for the Arizona game. Like, bring it on, buddy. Bring it on. Because I think I don't think we're going to win, but I do think it's going to be fun. And what a great test, though. Honestly, it's just a great test. And whatever happens in this game, I just want to see us continue to play well, and especially play well defensively. If we get outshot and if our shots just aren't falling, then it is what it is. They're the number one team in America, and that's okay. But listen, we're gonna be watching. We believe, hopefully, we can get this done. But what a great 2 games, and the stretch could potentially end in a 3-0 record. With that, we'll see you guys this weekend for our full show on Wisconsin.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show, subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Bucky Report or The Bucky Report Podcast from wherever you get your content. Until next time, on Wisconsin.